This is the VIP Podcast, Virginia in Politics. Let's listen to host Chris Saxman explore the personalities and policies that connect the Commonwealth. The VIP Podcast is brought to you by the VCTA, Broadband Association of Virginia, and Virginia Free. The views and opinions expressed here do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the VCTA and Virginia Free or our sponsors.
Hi, this is Chris Saxman on the VIP Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by VCTA, the Broadband Association of Virginia, and Virginia Free, of which I am its executive director. This program and this podcast is designed to inform you, the viewer, the listener, wherever you are, about Virginia politics, and maybe politics a little bit broader than that, but specifically about Virginia, because Virginia, as we all know around the world, is election nerd Disneyland. We have an election of consequence every year. We're the ultimate bellwether, okay? If you look at the calendar and the way it's structured, you go from the presidential cycle right into the gubernatorial cycle, right into the midterms, and then you go right back into the House and Senate elections here in Virginia. So we're always having a very intense political discussion in Virginia. It's exhausting, but that's sort of what Virginia's role is in world history. We're a crucible for democracy. And while it's exhausting for a lot of us in the business, my job here with VCTA and Virginia Free is to inform you, hopefully in a nonpartisan way. While we all have our separate and specific political leanings, a lot's changing in politics. And as a result, this program and this podcast is set up so that you can be further engaged and we can have the conversation and have the discussion, hopefully in a civil manner, so that you can be better informed and that we, in the aggregate, are a better society and a better Commonwealth as a result. So what I want to do with this particular episode is set the ground for, if you will, the 2023 general elections that are coming up. General Assembly elections. Right now, we're in the middle of session. It's a very intense short session, as all short sessions are. Normally in Virginia, we have a 60-day legislative session, followed by a 45 or 46-day session. It's called a short session. Now, people think, oh, that must be less work. No, it's the same amount of work in 2 less weeks than the long session, the 60-day session, which by most other states is considered a pretty short session unto itself. And when it's as intense as it is in a short session, plus you lay on top of these new legislative elections that are coming up in the General Assembly, it's super intense. And everyone in the building is really tense. You can see it in their faces, their demeanor, with the way they walk, the legislators, the staff. There's a lot riding on this. Why is this more difficult or more intense than most short sessions? The primary reason is that the lines have been redrawn for all the General Assembly districts. That means there are 140 brand new lines, but you'll say, well, we do that every 10 years. No, these lines are permanent, okay? There's only gonna be marginal precinct level changes every 10 years going forward. These districts are predominantly and almost exclusively going to be permanent, okay? As a result, there's a lot riding. If you take a pull back, go to 30,000 feet. These are probably the most important General Assembly elections for the last 50 years and for the next 50 years. These will have 100 years of impact. Looking at the new General Assembly in 2024, they're going to look back and go, okay, what can we change? And what can we get ready for going forward? The impact is enormous. As a result, you have a lot of people running for General Assembly seats. Senate and House, you have a lot of incumbents paired together in these brand new districts, which is creating its own internal problems within the parties. Republicans against Republicans, people who sit next to each other on the floor or in committee are running against each other. Same way for Democrats. There are some real doozies coming up, and it's providing for the viewers, the observers of politics in Virginia, and probably the bigger nerds in election nerd Disneyland in the country, they're really seeing how it's going to play out. But I want to point you in a couple different directions for sources of information so that you can be better informed about this and you can engage those sources and spread the information out there, because it's difficult in today's society with as much as that is changing in the media. First and foremost in Virginia politics, I want to point you to the Virginia Public Access Project, VPAP. They provide probably, if not absolutely, the best information at a statewide level of any state in the country. I think it's a response to the fact that Virginia demands this much information because we have an election of consequence every year, okay? And that's really important. VPAP.org, VPAP.org. Their information is spectacular. And as a result, I can do much better work and analysis on elections and what's going on in the world of politics here in Virginia. VPAP.org. And if you can, please make a donation like my family did to VPAP as well. It's a nonprofit. When I do my analysis, I rely on a lot of sources of information. Publicly available, it always has to be publicly available. I have a lot of candidates, campaign consultants, pollsters, talking to me constantly, reporters. We have an ongoing conversation. I can only provide to the public what is publicly available and analyze that. I can provide some context from the conversations that I have with these various people, but if I'm doing an analysis of numbers, those numbers have to be publicly available, unless I can get a pollster to release a poll making it public, okay? And I want to make that very important. What's riding on these elections, I just talked to a couple of lobbyists, longtime lobbyists here in the building, who have been around as long as I have. I was elected in 2001 and got out in 2010. With all this expected turnover that's coming in Virginia in the 2024, after the 23 elections, one of the things that's going to be really important for the Commonwealth, the business community, and frankly, its citizens, is stability. A lot of rules can change. A lot of the things that have governed and keep Virginia on track in being a great state and being one of the best states for business in the country is its stability, its adherence to the tradition and rules that both the House and Senate govern by. They're extremely important. It's not just for the sake of tradition, but it's for the sake of continuity, stability, as much civil discourse as you can get around here. Because when the doors close and they're in their committee meetings, most of the issues down here are nonpartisan. They're not really that intense. They are the things that matter to a lot of businesses. I just saw a group, the credit unions are here today. They always have these scarves and they show up in mass to come to the General Assembly to work on credit union issues. And they should. That's the benefit of having a legislature that is so available to them. But in a short session, I almost said to them, it's probably not the best day to be down here to make your point, unless there's a pressing piece of legislation. So that is, in essence, a pullback on what's going on here right now. What we do here at the VIP podcast, we'll have a number of legislators and candidates coming on so that you're better informed. I hope you'll share the information on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Subscribe, like, and share. Do all that good stuff. But please stay engaged in the political world of Virginia. It is election nerd Disneyland. Keep nerdling around here, all you fun nerds who like to do this, who are in the building or who are associated with politics. If there's anything we can do for you here, leave a comment in the comment section or contact me through vafree.org. My email is csaxman@vafree.org. And we'll be in touch and answer your questions in the future. Thanks for joining.